What's up, guys? I am here with a video to talk about It Ends With Us and the drama surrounding it. If you are unaware, It Ends With Us is a film adaptation of a book called It Ends With Us, and it's covering a person who is a survivor of a DV relationship. So, I personally liked the book because I felt like it just covered an array of complexities, just how you can fall in love with the version of a person that they present initially and be blind to the version that they're presenting currently. And I know that there are a lot of people who are like, oh, if this happened to me, if this kind of trauma presented itself, I would flee and I would be gone, or I would fight, or all this other stuff. But you don't really know until you're in that situation. And perspective is everything. When you're on the outside looking into a place, you can see you see the broad picture. You see multiple people, you see everything going on around. If you're looking at a person face to face, there's a lot of things that you're missing that are going on around you. And that's kind of what I felt like it highlighted in the book. And that's kind of why I was excited for this film to come out. So when I saw the trailer initially for this movie, I thought, oh, it seemed to be promoted as very lighthearted. And I'm thinking, oh, they're leaving stuff out, one, because people who have read the book already know what the meat of this movie is about, and also because they wanted to draw other people in. So I was like, okay, that's probably what it is. Went to see the movie, and I'm gonna say the movie was not the worst adaptation of a book that I have seen. It did gloss over a lot of things that I felt like could have been highlighted. And when I went and researched, I found that there was a lot of people talking about how upset they were about Blake Lively's coverage of this movie and the promo for it. So there was an interview specifically I want to speak about where Blake Lively, someone asked her about the movie, and she said that it's not a movie about DV. She said that it's a movie that basically it doesn't have to define you. You don't have to be a victim. You can essentially rise above.
Message that you hope that they take away from it?
I think that you are so much, and not to minimize it anyway, but you are so much more than just a survivor or just a victim. Well, that is a huge thing. You are a person of multitudes, and what someone has done to you doesn't define you. You define you, and what you have in you and what you're capable of and what you have done and are doing and will do is so much bigger than anything anyone else can do to you.
And while I do think that's a beautiful sentiment, and I actually think that that's a beautiful idea, in reality, once you experience a big trauma such as DV and other types of trauma, unfortunately, I'm not going to say it defines you, but it does define a lot of the ways you react, a lot of the ways you think. It defines how you interact with other people. It's just, you can't just elevate and heal from things immediately. Nothing in reality works like that. You break a bone and you're literally going to be trying to recover for many months, sometimes years, depending on how many bones you break. And it's interesting that when people see physical traumas, they can understand and relate that. But when you see something, when it's something that you can't see, it's a mental trauma, it's something that someone experienced, people just are like, move on, elevate, evolve, heal. And the body itself, the bones, the skin, none of that works like that. So why would you think the brain works like that? It doesn't make sense. So while I understood what she was saying, and I actually understood her press tour, like she really wanted the movie to be more of a lighthearted thing. And I get it. I get it because it's very hard as a woman to be painted as a victim, and the kind of role that would have needed to be done for it to be as accurate to the book as possible, it would have had to be really raw, really scary, really gritty. And if you're not an actress who can do that and you like more lighthearted things, if we look at Blake's other works, it makes sense why she wouldn't be able to commit to this kind of role. And unfortunately, I don't really know why I understand why she decided to take this role, because it's good press, it's big, it's something that people loved in the book, so this would have technically been good for her image had she played it to the best of, maybe she did play it to the best of her ability, had she played it exactly as the book was written. Now, I've also seen a lot of people talking about Coleen Hoover and how they're just so disgusted with how she romanticizes DV. And I'm gonna guess these are people who didn't actually read the book, or It Starts With Us or It Ends With Us, because it was two books. I'm gonna guess they didn't actually read the book, because in the book she doesn't romanticize things. It does involve romance, but even in the movie, I was at some points confused, because I was like, oh, there's comedy and like he's joking around, she's joking around. But realistically, if someone is going to pull you into a relationship, if they're outright nasty and violent already, no one is going to be pulled into that. So what do? They got to draw you with jokes, with honey, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's a different person. It's almost like a Venus flytrap. Like, I'm sure the flies are like, oh, this smells so sweet, it's all great, and then they get there and then, you know, it's all over. So I don't believe that that is the case. I don't think she romanticizes things. I do think that maybe, and maybe she should have spoke up more in the filming production of this, because from my understanding, she was very involved in this film. Now, it's very possible that she did speak up and the producers were like, yeah, we actually want to paint a different picture, so, and she was like, well, contract signed, it is what it is. It's also possible that she suddenly decided she wanted to make it more of a lighthearted thing to be more palatable to people, as did Blake, which is unfortunate. Now, the person who played Ryle, I think that is how you pronounce it. I was definitely pronouncing his name wrong this entire time, but in my head. But the person who played Ryle, whose name is Justin, he actually is doing really, or was doing really well with his tour, his press tour. He was, you know, highlighting the DV, talking about the seriousness and how he wanted to direct this movie this way. But it is unfortunate that he ended up getting, I'm going to say, stuck with people who didn't really want to make it as serious as the topic was. In all, I think it was a missed opportunity to talk about a serious issue. I think Blake did decide to paint it more with how she feels about herself and, you know, how she thinks about things versus the reality that exists for people who actually are going through this or have gone through it, which is very, very unfortunate, which actually brings me back to the point that I don't think that she was the right person for this role, not because she's Blake Lively and, you know, attached to Ryan Reynolds, but I think it's because of the kind of mindset that she had going into this. And unfortunately, people with her mindset don't seem to realize that they shouldn't be involved in things even after the fact. Like, she's doubled down since people have come out and the backlash has existed. She basically is like, I understand, but also I don't. That's essentially what I got from her response online. So it is unfortunate. I'm gonna say, if you did read the book though, I don't think it's a bad idea to see the movie. It depends on what you're looking for. Like, if you're looking for something that is, it was still a good movie, it just wasn't as raw as the book. So if you're looking for something that is super raw and you're just, you know, gut wrenching, and, you know, if you're looking for that, it wasn't that, but it did show some of the harder aspects of DV relationships. And it did talk about, of course, romance and moving on and elevating and all those things. So it just depends on what you're looking for. In all, I don't think it was, I'm not mad that I saw it. I didn't feel like it was a waste of my time. It was nice to see the things that I read in the book put to light. Not nice, but, you know, like, it's nice to have a picture to put in your mind for stories. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't raw. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts. What do you think about it? Are you going to see the movie? Did you read the books? What did you think about the books? What do you think about Coleen Hoover now? Feel free to comment down below. Thank you and goodbye.